Whew. How about that for some sunshine on what is a nice cold wintry day. Okay, today I'm going to make your life a little bit easier. Photoshop actions, what are they and how can they help you? Let's get into this. My name is Andy Hornby, photographer and vlogger. 17 years ago I started teaching myself photography. Today I travel the UK as a professional wedding photographer, landscape photographer and filmmaker. Learn from my experiences, my mistakes and my tips and advice. This video is kind of that didn't work, did it? Baby Yoda. I did record a whole section down the seafront in front of the Spinnaker Tower, but the weather wasn't very good. Actually, it's a really nice day, but it's very windy. Let me quickly apologise about the weather. It's a bit windy. Hopefully it's not ruining my audio. And the audio was actually quite bad, so I've had to come home and I'm re-recording this section for you. So first I want to talk about the videos coming out soon, because I know everyone is anxious to see the behind the scenes of the video I did with Miss Nancy at Sanctum Studios. That is coming soon. I can't release that video yet because I've put all of the pictures from all the different areas and sets that we did on that day, but I can't show you all those pictures yet because the magazines haven't released or allowed us to release those pictures, because we've sent them off. One magazine has taken them and published those, one set of those pictures already, so I've shown those pictures online already. But this is a quick short behind the scenes of a vertical panorama I did handheld with Miss Nancy, with a ceiling on the mirror. Yep, there was a ceiling on the mirror, and panned down 12 shots right down to Miss Nancy's feet, stitched them together in Lightroom. Actually, that worked really well and I love that picture. I'll show you that because we're not actually using that in any of the publications. So look out for that video, it's coming soon. Hopefully it won't take too long for the magazines to get back to us and publish some of these pictures, so I can release that video. So back to this video, and this video is about helping you and making your Photoshop life just a little bit easier, because Photoshop actions, you can actually create your own actions, and I used to use these a lot back in the day when I was doing weddings and only using Photoshop to edit my images, because an action can be applied or created from one image and applied across many images, a little bit like in Lightroom when you sync. It's not quite actions, but you sync a process in Lightroom right across a whole set of images. So for instance, at a wedding, if I'm doing if I'm editing images from one section of the wedding in like one room, and the white balance is going to be the same, and I edit one image, and I don't want to have to go through the whole process, because sometimes I use curves. I use curves in a way that's potentially quite advanced, so I can create an action and then apply that to the next image and the next image and the next image, and actually save myself an absolute ton of time. This can potentially help you if you use Photoshop and you use actions in this kind of way. It's going to give you a lot, it's going to take a lot of pressure off your editing sort of time, if you like. So I'm going to show you how to create a basic action. This isn't going to be a massive long action. We're going to record a very basic action. And the one I'm going to record today is actually after a question that was asked me by Graham Markham. If you're there, Graham, I know I've answered it already, but I'm going to show you how to create a nice border effect around a picture. Actually, I use this for video. So what I do is actually, in my video, I actually layer an image on top of another image. The top image I make slightly smaller, and the bottom image I blur. So I do that in my videos to give you, a nice visual representation of the pictures that I want to show you. But you can do this in Photoshop and actually create that kind of border effect in Photoshop. So I'm going to show you how to do that, but then I'm going to show you how to make it as an action. So then you go to the next image and apply it like that, and it creates a nice blurred border. It takes 2 seconds. It can be very advanced. You can make some very intricate, long-winded, massive actions. In fact, Photoshop has quite a few default actions that are very long-winded and very complex. I'm not going to create a complex action for you, but this will give you a good understanding of how to create an action, how to record it, and then use it later. But then you can go away and maybe make something a little bit more intricate, a bit more complex, a bit more advanced, maybe, and then apply it to other images as and when you need to, because when you save these actions, they're saved in Photoshop forever. Without me waffling on, let's get into this video. I'm going to show you how to create this action, and first of all, I'm actually going to show you how I create this picture effect with the blurred border. So let's do that, and then I'll show you how to create that as an action. Let's do this. Okay, so first of all, we're going to look at how I edit this in my video software, which is Final Cut Pro. Very simply, actually, I'm just going to take the picture you see there. I'm going to add a second one and layer that one on top, and that top one I'm just going to make 90% of its current size. It can be whatever size you like, really. And in my effects browser, I'm then gonna find shadow. So I'm gonna add a drop shadow to that. Just gonna move it with my cursor to where I want it. Have a little mess around to make sure I get the right effect that I want. Blur right up, that kind of stuff. Opacity to max. Just gonna zoom out to show you the effect. On the bottom layer, I'm literally just going to make it slightly bigger. You don't have to make it bigger. In fact, sometimes I don't bother, but it's nice sometimes to make it a little bit bigger. And in the effects, I'm going to find Gaussian blur, add that, and boom, that's it. That's all you need to do. Now in Photoshop, we're going to try and make the same kind of effect. It may not come out exactly the same, but we're going to do our best to make the effect similar. So I'm just going to add another layer. Control J will add a layer. I'm actually going to add two. I'm going to turn the bottom layer off because I like to work non-destructively. We can come back to this layer should we need to. On the top layer, I'm just going to change the size. So Control T and holding down the optional Alt key, just drag one corner in, drag all the corners in together. Somewhere like that. It's giving me that 90% kind of feel that I do. And hit the Enter button. I'm going to go to the effects panel, look for drop shadow at the bottom there. And the effect, I always go for an angle of 135. I don't know why, but I always have done, so I always will do, I suppose. And on the bottom layer, we're going to Control T, make this bigger, so hold down the optional Alt key again, zoom out a little bit, and drag one corner out, and that's going to make all the corners drag out a little bit bigger. Hit Enter, and we are then going to go to our filter panel, go to Blur, Gaussian Blur, and raise that to where you need it to. Boom, there we go. And that's pretty much it. That's all the effect is. Not a lot else to do with that. But what if I want to add that to more images? So potentially we can make an action. So open up the actions panel and we are going to create a new set. There's a lot of sets in there already. You know, I've got stuff that I've downloaded before. We're going to create a new set. We can call this anything you like. Border, blur, border. I'm just going to go for border actually because I might create more stuff in the future to do with borders, and then we've got just one set there. And inside that we're going to create a new action. That's a new action button. Let's give it a new name. So we're going to go for border blur. And the other settings we can leave pretty much alone. Start the record button, and everything we do from now on is going to record as an action. So we're going to do what we did last time. It's going to Control J, and Control J again is going to give us two new layers. Turn the background layer off. Top layer, we are going to change the size. Hold down the optional Alt key, bring the corner in, and we are going to give this a drop shadow. I'm going to change this again. 135 is the angle I tend to go for. In my videos it angles that way anyway, so it kind of gives the same effect. Bottom layer, I'm going to add a Gaussian blur to. I'm not going to change the size of it this time, but just as Gaussian blur from there. The settings are the same from last time, so kind of just okay that. You just have to choose that setting yourself, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to flatten the layers. On my Mac, that's Shift Command and the E button will flatten those, and hit the stop button on our actions, and that's created an action. Now we can open up another image, very simply play that action, boom, done. And that's how you make an action. So you can go nuts, make actions that are really, really intricate and delicate and complicated and whatever else you want to do, and save them forever in Photoshop to use on other images. It's something that I used to do a lot back in my wedding editing days when I only used Photoshop. Like I said, I don't tend to use this nowadays simply because Lightroom does a lot of the work for me. I don't need to use Photoshop in this capacity. But if you do lots of images in a set that you want to edit one and have an action to maneuver over all the other images to make your process a lot simpler and a lot quicker, this is a good way of doing it. If you've got any questions about this, please drop them in the comments down below, or if you have any other bits of Photoshop that you want me to go over, maybe review or do a little tutorial on that you're having issues with, please let me know. Drop me a comment down below. And if you like this video, you got anything out of it, please hit the thumbs up. That's always appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get updates every time I upload a new video. And until the next one, stay awesome, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.